The old Ben Simmons off-season workout video. I love this time of year because, you know what, there's actually some suckers out there who think that Ben's going to change his game and start shooting 3 threes a game from next season. This is not going to happen, fellas. Give up on it. He's still a good player anyway. As an Australian, I do care for Ben. I'm interested to see how his career develops moving forward, even if it's a little less so after he decided not to represent the Boomers at the recent Olympics. But ever since last year's playoff fiasco, we've been sitting around, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for Daryl Morey to make a move and get Ben Simmons the hell out of Philadelphia. Now, apparently Ben wants to go to one of the California teams because he's a young socialite and also loves the hot weather. But you know what? In this video, I'm going to offer up 3 trade proposals that do not send Ben where he wants to go. But you know what, Ben? You are under contract for the next 4 years. You can be dealt willy-nilly to wherever the team wants to send you. So let's get into it. Might be a little bit unrealistic for some of you guys. If you want to give us some hate in the comment section, that's fair enough. I'm all for it.
Is that a trick question? This man was a bona fide scrub. Bona fide scrub.
This dude, I believe he's a bona fide superstar right now.
Right. Oh, well, of course, it's all about winning, baby.
Yeah. Alright, let's start with a little 3-team trade because we all love to get creative with 3-team trades. And we also know that Daryl Morey is holding out trading Simmons until the time that Damian Lillard requests a trade from the Portland Trail Blazers. We all get that. But if I'm Portland, did absolutely nothing in free agency to try and get better, to try and appease Dame and want him to stay there long term. Let's get on the front foot. Let's get proactive. Why not go after Ben Simmons without giving up Dame and even without giving up CJ McCollum? A little bit ambitious, I know, but hear me out here. Here's what's going to happen from a 76ers perspective. You're going to give up Ben, and in return, you're going to get De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings. Slight downgrade maybe, but Ben wants out. And De'Aaron Fox is probably a slightly better fit next to Joel Embiid. Now, for the Blazers, you're getting Ben Simmons. You're giving up Rocco, Yusuf Nurkic, a 2023 first-round pick and a 2025 first-round pick, both unprotected. They're keys there. And from a Kings perspective, you're getting Rocco, you're getting Yusuf Nurkic, and you're getting those 2 unprotected first-round picks for De'Aaron Fox. Now, from a Blazers perspective, I think it's a great deal. From the 76ers perspective, it's probably the best you can make out of a bad situation. People will probably look at this and think the Kings lose big time. I don't necessarily think so. Here's why. Rocco and Nurk are both on expiring contracts, so it's going to give you cap flexibility going forward into next season. And those 2 unprotected first-round picks, well, what if Dame does request a trade in the next 12 months, even with Ben Simmons on his team? Then all of a sudden the Blazers could turn to absolute crap. And potentially those 2 first-round picks are top 10 maybe, depending on how your lottery goes. But I don't think it's the worst thing for the Kings. Now, if we look at these teams now, if this trade was to go down. So, as I said, from a 76ers perspective, Fox comes in. You've still got Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid. It's a massive downgrade defensively. Yes, we get that. But Fox is probably going to be a better performer in the playoffs, if he ever gets there, and which I'm sure he will as part of this 76ers team, but anyway, and he's probably going to be a better fit next to Embiid, as I said before. From a Blazers perspective, now you've got kind of a big 3 with Dame, CJ, you still got Norman Powell, Ben Simmons, and Cody Zeller, which is not really ideal, but that's what you get for sucking in free agency, and that's all they really ended up with. So he's going to have to be starting center for the moment. Maybe you can make a move down the track. From a Kings perspective, you got Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Rocco, and Yusuf Nurkic. Are you slightly worse in the short term? Yeah, maybe. But long term, I think you're going to be okay, especially if the Blazers all of a sudden do suck because Dame requested a trade and maybe those 2 picks are top 10. The other thing with the Kings is you've just drafted Davion Mitchell, looked really good in Summer League. With him, Tyrese, and De'Aaron Fox there, I think one of them is actually probably surplus to needs. So why not make a move, get De'Aaron Fox out there, give yourself some cap flexibility and some potential high picks moving forward. Alright, this one might be a little unrealistic because we all know that Daryl wants an all-star calibre-ish player of a similar level as Simmons in return, and in this one he's definitely not getting that. But you know what, Daryl, your player wants out. Sometimes you got to make the best of a bad situation, and for Ben, we all know that you want to go to California and whatnot, but you're under contract for 4 years, so you can be shipped willy-nilly, and in this trade we're sending you to the Minnesota Timberwolves, one of the coldest places in America. Now, in this trade, the T-Wolves are actually loading up with a kind of big four here, and they're trading Patrick Beverley, Malik Beasley, Jaden McDaniels, a 2022 and 2025 first-round pick, both unprotected, again, to the 76ers for Ben Simmons. Now, the centerpiece of this trade for a 76ers perspective is probably Jaden McDaniels, who had a pretty good rookie season, projects to be, potentially a high-level player in the NBA. Now, Patrick Beverley gives you a bit of experience there. He can probably come in and be the point guard, give you some of that similar, defensive tenacity that Ben provides. Now, are there any, all-star caliber players here? No, but again, you would think the Timberwolves would be good with Ben coming in, but they've just shown an ability to be trash for the last 20 years. So why can't those 2 first-round picks be potential top 10 picks as well? Now, if we look at the teams here as we move forward, if this trade was to go down, we got Pat Bev at point, Seth Curry or Malik Beasley just at the shooting guard position. Malik Beasley just quietly just out of jail, but that was somehow kept on the DL. Danny Green at small forward, Tobias Harris at power forward, Joel Embiid at center. So really not too much there, just a bit better depth. You've got Jaden McDaniels and Tyrese Maxey, so some young talent there coming off the bench who project as pretty good NBA players, and you got those first round picks as I spoke about. For the T-Wolves, you got a kind of big four with D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, Ben Simmons, and Karl Anthony Towns. You can throw Josh Okogie in there at small forward as well. So probably an unrealistic trade from a 76ers perspective because Darryl wants the all-star caliberish player in return. But who knows? Could the Timberwolves get something done where they actually keep D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, and Cat and are able to acquire Ben Simmons? Let me know. Alright, third and final trade proposal here, and perhaps the most interesting one because Philly are getting back a player of a similar level of Ben Simmons, and we're talking about trading him to the Chicago Bulls for Zach LaVine, Troy Brown Jr., and Ryan Archer-Diacono. The final two there are basically for salary filler. There's been a lot of debate and discussion on who's worth more in a trade between LaVine and Simmons. I actually think probably given last season, LaVine might actually, as a player, be worth more than Simmons in a trade, and also because Simmons is obviously the player that wants out. But from a long-term perspective, LaVine is going to be a free agent at the end of next season. $19.5 million, 1 year left on his contract. He's going to want a max contract. The Bulls have got to work out whether they want to pay him that or not, and he could also just walk in free agency for nothing. So why not use him to get another all-star caliber player who probably fits better in your team, and he's under contract for another 4 years. You obviously got Lonzo and DeMar DeRozan in free agency from a Bulls perspective, so you are quite loaded at that guard position. Now, if we look at the teams going forward, I think they'd be super interesting, and they almost make both teams better, in my opinion. So for the 76ers, I've chucked in Seth Curry there at point guard, LaVine at the 2, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. Now, you don't have a true out-and-out point guard there. We know Seth Curry is more of a shooting guard as well. But I think between him and LaVine, they can handle some ball handling duties, and it might also force, which I think is a good thing, it might also force Embiid to get down on the block and actually play in the post a little bit more. So I think that can only be a good thing for the 76ers. I really hate when Joel just sits out on the perimeter and starts taking threes and going off the dribble and stuff. Just go in the paint where you're basically unstoppable. It's not that difficult. And for the Bulls' perspective, they get Lonzo Ball at point guard, DeMar DeRozan at the 2, Patrick Williams at the 3, Ben at the 4, Vucevic at the 5. I think that's a much more balanced lineup than what they've got now. The only thing is the shooting aspect is probably becomes a little difficult with a non-shooter, a non-3-point shooter in DeRozan, a non-3-point shooter in Ben, and Patrick Williams, who's still working on his 3-point shot. But to be honest, I don't mind the move. If you're a Philly, Chicago fan, or just an NBA fan in general, let me know who you think is worth more in a trade out of Zach LaVine and Ben Simmons. Alright, thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know which one of those is the most realistic, which one's the most unrealistic. If you've got some feedback, whether it be positive or negative, absolutely go for it. If you want to hate on any of the suggestions, I'm all for it. Just in return, why don't you click subscribe and follow us on our social media channels? That'd just be a nice thing to do after you absolutely rip into me about those trade proposals. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your day.